What's up, y'all? Welcome
Hey,
to
hey,
a
hey.
edition of Free Thinkers. Nikki jumping in right on time.
Woo,
And
sorry.
we got another. No, you right on time.
I know, but I was like, I literally just ran and sat down. I got locked out of the house for like 20 minutes tonight. I was
Oh, that
very,
stinks.
very upset.
No. Okay. So we're jumping right on in. We have should have a great show for you. If it ain't good to you, it's gonna be good to me. I can guarantee you that because I enjoy conversations. So for those who don't know, if you are living under a rock, Free Thinkers is a show, and we try to live by the name Free Thinkers. We explore, interrogate, examine different thoughts, opinions, views. We invite you and welcome you to join in, whether it be YouTube or Facebook or however you may be watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you're wondering who I'm talking about, if you heard me say that, then I'm talking to you. Like, share, and subscribe if you get anything out of this, and if you think anyone else would be interested in these type of conversations, because they don't happen every day and everywhere that you're at. So make sure you invite others to the page as well. We have ongoing conversations all throughout the week. Many of the things we talk about deals with the different topics that we post on the page, and also things that people bring to us. So if you ever have any ideas, topic ideas, or things that you want to talk about, make sure you either message us or post it on the page, and we will we'll get into it. Keep in mind that there is adult conversation, whether that be adult language or adult content type of subjects that we're talking about. So if you got little ones around or anyone who, you're cautious of their ears, keep that in mind. We invite you to come on. The link should be somewhere below on the Facebook page. Just make sure you tap into the link. If you've never been on StreamYard before, it's very easy. Just click on it and hit enter studio, and then just jump in, have a conversation. You're not obligated to say anything. You can just listen. You can jump in every once in a while. Feel free to jump out whenever you need to as well. This show typically goes about anywhere from an hour and 15 to an hour and 45 minutes. We try to close up around 9:30. So with that being said, did I miss anything? Is there anything I left
I
out?
don't think so. No, just thank you to everybody who has subscribed to the YouTube channel over the last couple weeks. We're definitely getting some great traction over there, so much appreciated. And as always, appreciate the feedback that we get after our conversations. I get a lot of messages and
Yes.
sometimes calls throughout the week of people who are like, "I watched y'all on Tuesday, and let me
Right.
tell you what I thought." So we always appreciate. I mean, we do this because we enjoy talking and we enjoy having these conversations with people. So we appreciate the support. Continue following the Facebook and the YouTube channel. Share. And we do this every Tuesday. So we have a great lineup for actually the next couple of weeks worth of topics of shows.
Oh, yeah.
So really hope that we get to see some new fresh faces. I'm doing a little bit of a roll call on the Facebook page right now. We don't have any expectations for members of our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. So there are no expectations that you have to be, a daily contributing member by any means. A lot of people do just like to read and will oftentimes engage. So I'm just kind of, weeding out some of the spam accounts. Facebook has changed some of the controls for the group channels. And since we're not a private group, it's a public page. So it's obviously easy to find. We don't get to filter out who joins the page right now. So like anybody,
I was wondering what happened. I'm like,
I did too. I was like,
there
why
was
is
a
this
time
happening?
we
Because
were able to approve.
we used to get requests, and the only people that could get through without getting their membership approved were people that had the multiple of the same friends.
Right.
And now we're getting all these bot accounts. So like I've already gotten rid of, I think like maybe close to 200 accounts. And they were, they're all robots. So we're really trying to keep it, accurate. And, if Elon Musk ever wants to buy us, we have no fucking bots on our page. We have totally authentic human
Yeah,
users
Elon.
who are contributing to the channel. But yeah, so I'm just doing a little bit of a roll call. So if you are watching and you know that you are one of those quiet ones, just pop your head in somewhere so I can see you, so we can see you. And that way we know that you're still following us and, you know, are still interested in engaging with us. But no, so I don't think we've forgotten anything. And I look forward to tonight's conversation. Did you, I don't know if you saw, like, last minute, I sent you the screenshot of, like, or I put in the message, like, the screenshot of the couple topics we're going to talk about, or at least a
I
couple that
did
I
see it.
wanted to talk about. Okay,
Yes,
okay,
I
okay.
did see it. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. So I've got them stored. If you want to use them as little pictures, we can use those too.
For sure.
Besides the two that we talked about already, did you have any other posts that you saw in particular you wanted to talk about?
Not right away. I'm gonna look in there. It might be some other things, but those are probably the main two.
So you want to talk about church sex first, or you want to talk about how keeping up our appearances for our mate first?
Let's go to keeping the appearance first.
Keeping the appearance. All right. So I'm going to throw this up here real quick. I think, yeah, I posted. I snagged this off of Instagram and posted it over on the Freethinkers Facebook page. So for those of you guys that are watching us only from YouTube, this is why we invite you over to our Facebook page too, because this is where these conversations take place at. So I posted this on the Facebook page, and it got quite a few responses. Some people certainly agreed, and some people thoroughly did not agree. So do you think?
Oh, I have a strong opinion.
I did too. I did too, and I'll be curious to see if we have the same thoughts. Do you think it is your obligation to stay attractive for your mate? So we'll start with that.
I just looked at it. Yes, absolutely. And pay attention to the post. Pay attention. Everything.
Yeah, I did too. I was picking them apart too.
Don't miss words. Don't miss words.
Mm-hmm.
So keywords. Let's start with this. Stay. That's what I want to focus on. Keyword. Stay attractive to your mate.
Okay.
So that implies initially when you guys decided to be a thing, a couple, a partnership, you were attractive to your mate. However, whether you was 120 pounds or 300 pounds, you were attractive to them. Now, because the post talks about staying attractive. So I definitely believe you do have an obligation to maintain the level of attraction that initially gravitated your partner to you. Right. Whatever that means. I ain't talking about Hollywood or society's
but you met me at this. This is how you met me. This is how I presented myself to you. This is what got, this what got the hook in the lip.
I absolutely believe you have an obligation to maintain that. Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna go with stay. So all right, so I agree with that.
Now let me hold on. I'm gonna finish. Go ahead and talk. I'm finished. I'm sharing right now. So if you hear this as well, make sure that you're sharing. But I have some other things, and I want to get into some of the comments that I saw on the page as well. Let me finish. I got a couple more pages I need to share too. Go ahead, Nikki.
So I think that a lot of people's first knee-jerk response to the statement of, do you think it's your obligation? People see that obligation to stay attractive to your mate, and a lot of people's defenses went up, like, I'm not obligated to do a mother bloop bloop blooping thing, like I don't have to do and this is true. You don't have to do shit. You're absolutely correct. But that wasn't the question. The question was, do you feel like you're obligated to this to your mate? It's not about whether you have to do it or don't have to do it. And I like what you said, Q. This is how you met me. And I think that there's always going to be a space that's going to be reserved for the obvious, right? Like, you take a woman in particular. A woman eventually gets pregnant by said man, her body changes. She may put on a lot of weight. She may never go back to the size that she was before she met. I feel like the men I know today are far more forgiving of a woman's body than women are of their body. So I think that most men, especially if it was your baby that she carried, most men are okay with some stretch marks and some hips that then got maybe a little bit bigger than they were when I first met you, or
Right.
maybe some weight, you know, to the breast that maybe you didn't have when I first met you. So we're not going to act like, oh, well, what if I have a baby? You're not going to love me anymore. Like, it's not that, you know, it can be the small things, because really I feel like the small things eventually turn into big things. If we neglect the small things, it's this 15 pounds that I'm just kind of messing around with right now, being lazy, could easily turn into 50. I could take care of 15, but 50 is going to be a little fucking harder. It's going to be a little bit more challenging, you know? So it's like, no, it's not necessarily for them, but I think for me, my thing with feeling good, like when I feel like I look good, like I feel great. And that's an energy that just, it permeates throughout your skin, and it creates a dynamic between you and especially your partner, who is saying, I like that on you, or I like your hair like this, or I like when you come from the barbershop and that's a good cologne, and oh, you smell good. And when this kind of interaction happens between a couple, because you do physically have an attraction for the other person and it just happens to be your mate, that shit feels good, and that in turn makes me want to keep doing it. So I get people who say, oh, I'm going to do it for myself. Of course you're going to do it for yourself.
Okay, I do have a question, because that I didn't think of certain elements, even when we talk about more from a cosmetic standpoint. Like, maybe I didn't have hair when we first met. Maybe you did have hair,
maybe you decided to cut it off. Now you don't have no hair.
Is that something that should be considered? Because that's one of those things that, do you have to, if they met you when your hair was all the way down to your butt, do you got to keep it all the way down to your butt throughout the relationship, if that's the way that they like it? I mean, I don't know about that.
That's a conversation for them and that partner to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that there's going to be, like I said, I think that there's always exceptions to the rule. There's going to be forgiveness. You know, like if it's funny, because like my kid's dad and I were talking a couple weeks ago about just shit going on, right? And I had made the comment about how I was losing some hair, like my hair was getting thin. He was like, he pulled his hat off. He said, "Shit, we getting old. You know, we met when we were 20." So it's like, of course, as people age, there's going to be part of you that doesn't look the same that you did 10, 15, 20 years ago. But even in that, would that make me stop going to the barbershop, or stop, you know, maintaining my pedicures, or stop maintaining, you know, my skin regimen and things like that? No, definitely not. I'm just going to pick it up in a different space, because now I got old shit to fix.
So let me get back to the physical part of it. I do feel that, absent of pregnancy, you should need to stay within 25 pounds of the weight that your partner met you at.
That's not
either way.
That's not a lot. 25 isn't a lot, though.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot, but it is. Yeah, but that's maintainable. That's maintainable. And this is the other thing. As you get older, because many people will make the excuse, including myself, about, you know, I'm older, my metabolism, I don't have the time to work out. Like, I've heard all these boohoo sob stories that people give when the ish hits the fan. And what I mean by that is, you let your body get away. And then you and your partner, one day, eventually, you have a come to Jesus meeting, and they're like, "You're too big now." you know,
you done got too big.
And now your feelings, yes, that I'm not attractive to you anymore.
Damn.
And now you are devastated, and your feelings are hurt. And now you're thinking of all these reasons why you've gained this weight. And go ahead.
Is it that partner's obligation to let you know before you get too big, you getting too big?
It's, if you haven't set ground rules on that, it's really tough to do.
I know, but don't you think that it really is? Like, wouldn't it really, really be? Their obligation to let you know. I mean, I know the common, nobody wants to have that conversation, but isn't it like I think you're obligated.
And most people don't have see, this is the problem in any relationship. Most people don't have the best time to discuss how to handle the tough conversations. When everything is exactly when everything is fine.
When it's happening.
When everything is good and fine, that's when you need to light, cheery, beautiful mood. We love each other. Everything is awesome. That's the perfect time to say, okay, let's, you know what? If I get too big, then how should you address me? How should I address you? When you see I'm too big and I'm getting outside of the range that's suitable for you, should I come out and say something to you first? How are you going to come and say it to me? Do we have a mutual agreement? Are we going to get on a diet together? Like, what does this look like? What are we going to do when it gets to that point? It's easier to have the conversation when you're both nice looking and you both enjoy the way that you look. But most people don't think about having those conversations then. And then by the time a person put on 15, 17, 20 pounds, it could be a touchy situation to be like, hey, babe. What you gonna say? How are you gonna say it? Like, anything that you say is going to be touchy.
It could be, but isn't it? I mean, but isn't that what we do in a relationship? Isn't what we're supposed to do in a relationship? Like, if we can't have those conversations, do we need to even like be doing this grown-up thing if we can't have real live conversations? Like, I need to let you know, like, babe, you are putting on some weight. 1, it's gonna affect you. 2, it's affected how I look at you. Like that, I don't think. Does it sound good?
It becomes a snowball.
But it sounds so terrible, right? But it's the fucking truth.
And it's a snowball, and then you notice like there's nothing that they say, but they not. You can tell when someone's attracted to you or not as attracted as they used to be. You can tell.
Yes, you can.
They not smacking you on the butt when you walk by as much. They not just, trying to get you in the middle of the day.
Later, and so here you are 30 days later feeling like, you've been picking up some weird vibes, some weird energy. Like, it's just shit been feeling off. Like, you haven't been wanting to touch me or what, like you know in your gut something's wrong, but you steady telling me everything is fine to then tell me later on it's because I put on some weight. Like, then you get mad because you're like, so you have been feeling this way, but you couldn't tell me. I mean, it's really a super slippery slope and catch-22. I get
and then on the flip side, sometimes you didn't notice you were picking up weight. Like, why did I have to tell you?
Right. I mean, and that's true too. I know you know. I know you know, but
so it's tough.
It is tough. It is tough, but I think that it is fair, and I think that if you are going to enter into a relationship with somebody, that's a good conversation.
And I mean, for instance,
that's a good conversation to have.
I think, what did I do? I met my ex-wife when we were young, and I was like, I was like 20s. Well, maybe I was 24, 25, and she was like 19. So, she hadn't even got into her grown people stuff, her grown people weight and all that. I was like, buck 80, and she was like 155, 160.
Damn.
And over time that, 70, 180, 190, 200, 210.
Ooh.
It's like, And then see, and this is the other thing too, where especially to some there's different things, because she had a thyroid condition also, so that played a part in it. Played a part in it. I won't play everything in it, but so then you're also sensitive when you know that there's other underlying medical conditions involved that's causing certain things. But that don't change your attraction or lack thereof.
And that's the truth.
It's like what do you do?
That's the truth.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? So it
I
becomes
was
tough.
thinking about that same exact dynamic when I was in the shower getting ready. I was like, I try to think of like, for me, it's just, I guess the weight difference would be the biggest thing that I could say has been the most notable change for me in the last like 20, 30 years, right? Like I still pretty much
Right.
fucking look the same. My hair hasn't changed in 20 years. Like I'm the same chick. But like when I met my kid's dad, I was like 135, 140. And now here we are 22 years later, and I am not 135. But I think the highest I got in the course of 22 years of knowing this man was almost to 250 pounds. So met me at like 135, 140, and the highest I got was 250. I was like 240 something. And of course, that's when I
Right.
gave birth to child, right? After I
Right.
had kid, I pretty much teetered. I stayed between like 180 and 210. And I still fluctuate between 180 and 210. And I was thinking about this because, last week we did a whole show on like kudos to men and women. And kudos to men who weight isn't one of their significant deal breakers, right? Like I could have easily been, I was easily 100 pounds heavier than when I met this person. And not a day in my life did I ever feel like anything ever changed. Like I was not any less desirable because I was 100 pounds higher. Did that mean that I could just fuck off after I had the baby? Absolutely not. I still had to get back down to where I came from. But it's all about how you do it. Because I guarantee if he wanted to approach to me like, Nick, it's time to do some things.
Right.
Because it was always accepted, because I was always loved, because I was always desired still, even in those larger, in a larger size, it made it okay to be like, yeah, you're right, my ass is still big, like I gotta do something different. If you're critical, if you're negative, if you're ugly, like no one's going to be receptive to that. So it is important to like go into a weight conversation. And I'm not going to say men are less sensitive to that topic than women are. So women don't think that men aren't,
Right.
but I think that we do have to be sensitive, and I think that we do have to be fair and honest. And I think that it's okay to accept that.
Self-awareness. Have some self-awareness. And let me tell you, this is what I think is rude. Why do you have to wait for your partner? It's a difficult thing for your partner who loves you and they really want to be with you. And that's a difficult conversation to have. Why would you force your partner to have to tell you that before you decide to make some changes?
What do you mean?
Why would you wait? Like, all right, 215, 225, 235. I'm just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I see that I'm getting bigger. I see I got to wear bigger clothes. The clothes I was wearing last year, I can't even, they in a whole different box because I can't fit them no more.
Right.
You're getting bigger. But you have to, you're going to wait for your partner.
Got you. Right.
To tell you, hey,
right,
you're getting out of control.
You gonna let them be the bad guy instead of
exactly. Why you gonna make them be the bad guy versus you just saying, hey, you know what? I need to get this under control.
Right.
If for myself, if not for myself, for them. But like, and then the question is, how important is it for you to be attractive to your partner?
Right. Right. I mean, to me,
people don't like talking about, but
to me, that's everything. Like,
right.
And this goes way beyond like, oh, I have to look a certain type of way so he or she won't cheat. This ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right.
So the person that's designed to cheat is just gonna cheat regardless of what you look like or regardless of what they have. This is about just that's still catching that eye. This is about that still, you do it for me. You know what I mean? And it's so this isn't about anything other than I want you to desire me. I want to be the object of your affection. Like,
but Nicki, does that play a part though?
What?
You dramatically allowing your body to change. Let's say this. No excuse for cheating. But whenever you say but, it's a change in direction.
However,
when you become less desirable or less attractive to your partner, does that open the door for, I mean, they still have sexual desires, and if they don't look at you and see you that way, does it make it easier for them to, even if they're not pursuing other people, just what the old people used to say, got a wandering eye?
I mean, a lot of things I'm sure could contribute to a wandering eye. But again, you could be a dime, and if you gonna wander, you gonna wander.
Some people, there's some people, yeah, they
Right.
they were just
But
made that way.
I do think that if you continuously and chronically are in a space where you are not physically taking care of yourself and you do not look the way that you did when you know, maybe first met your partner, no, there's never an excuse, but you think about those as reasons why people start to fucking wander their eye.
So let me take it a step further. In a situation where there is either full on out infidelity, or somebody get caught flirting or texting or doing something that they not supposed to do, and that after a conversation that is a factor, does the victimized party have any percentage of culpability, whether it's even just 2 or 5% culpability in, you know what, I wasn't taking care of my presentation because I got too comfortable to the point to where my partner did not see me as attractive, and they wrong for doing what they did, and it's almost all their fault, but I do need to take a little bit of responsibility for not taking care of my temple a little bit better than I should have. I'm asking. I don't know. Do they? Is there any 2%, 3%? Is there any? Because I hear this. Okay, let me say, I hear this oftentimes because I get quite a few people who want to have conversations with me, and they'll, you know, they will talk about all the things that happened in a relationship and all the things that he or she did and this and this and that, but they rarely ever speak about some of the preventative maintenance that potentially they could have used to avoid some of these situations. In most cases, the person who was going to do it was going to do it anyway.
Right.
In some cases, they loved you, but they were not happy, and temptation got the best of them. And I ain't even saying if it's all the way. I'm just saying, even if they started texting and started giving other people their attention, temptation jumped in their way because they were grabbing attraction in other directions.
So those two things don't get to sit at the same table, but those two things each deserve attention, right? So the first part, yes, we are accountable. Yes, we are responsible, because there is not any way, unless you have some type of, you know, mental health issues that really are disassociative, right? To where you just don't know. There's no way you can't not know that your pants are too tight, that you're having to go up a size on your waist, that you're having to go up a size in your t-shirt, that your sleeves on your shirt are getting a little bit snugly tight, that, you know, there's no way you can't not know these things, right? So you are aware, you do know. Now, maybe it doesn't seem like it's as much as it is. Everybody has their own barometer of how much weight is too much, you know, how much is acceptable, but there's no way that you don't not know. I put on 10, 15 pounds, I feel it immediately. I put on 20, 25 pounds, I feel it every fucking where. I put on 30, 40 pounds, it's unmistakable. So you can't not know. So for that part, yes, you are responsible for being in tune with those changes. You are. Does that mean I have to do something for my partner? No, you do not. But you have to be realistic that you do not look the same. That doesn't make you any less of a person or any less of anything. Actually, there's more of you now. And we have to have the conversation as a partnership, as a couple. You caught that? We have to have the conversation as a couple, the uncomfortable conversation as a grown-up couple who's trying to do grown-up things. That, baby, I'm noticing the weight gain. I'm noticing, Now, the flip side, the reason I said that those two things can't sit at the same table is because a person who is stepping outside of the box to seek something from anybody other than their partner has got some the word I want to use all the time I don't want to use. I'm trying to find a better word to use. They've got some soul search, and they've got some work that they need to do, because now this is about them. Because you know what? There could have been a time during, my 200 pounds, my 225 pounds, my 250 pounds where my ex was fucking grossed out by me. I never would have known. And I also didn't keep the weight on either. I knew it needed to go. We knew it needed to go. I know what's sexy to me. I know what feels good to me. And I know what he liked. You know what your partner likes. So for the aspect that, yes, you can gain it and you can't miss that you're gaining the weight. Yeah, you do have some accountability to that, period. It doesn't have to sound good, but it is true.
You know what I don't like? I hate the when people do that. Well, if you love me, you should just love me the way that I am type.
No.
My love for you and my attraction for you is not mutually exclusive.
And both of them can change.
Yes. and especially for men. I don't know about women, but for men, one can influence the other.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's just one of those. Okay, so let me go to a couple of the comments that we had in there. Let me see. First, Armand. What's up, Armand? Said, you are obligated to be attractive for yourself. If your mate does not accept your looks and or body with changes that you are comfortable with having, then maybe you should look for a different mate. That's half of that's true. If you don't like the way that they look, but you can't say I'm just, as long as I'm happy with me, that's all that matters. No, you're in a partnership.
Yes.
Now I'm not, and let me say this again. I'm not saying reconfigure yourself to something that you never were.
Right.
Like, again, if they met you at 220, ain't no need for them to be like, well, I sure wish you can get them down to 165. Like,
right? Why?
You met me at 220. Why do you need me to get to 165? Right.
Right.
So no, that's not fair.
Right.
But I think it's fair to maintain your bait. I guess that's the best way to say it. Your presentation was the bait you put out there.
Like you said, there's a window of fluctuation, because it doesn't always have to be gaining weight. A person could fucking lose weight. Sometimes people get ill. Sometimes, people have depression. Sometimes, people have just go the other end of the spectrum, and they get, they become underweight, and this is not a materialistic is the wrong word, but this isn't that conversation. This is like real deal shit that happens in everyday relationships that people can really fuck this conversation up if it's not done properly. And people can receive this information really wrong too if it's not done properly. So but at the end of the day, we both feel that it's important for us to be obligated to look good for our partner. So there's two things can be right at the same time.
Yeah,
both of those things have to happen.
I like women on the bigger side, so lose too much weight, then that could be a problem for me just as much.
Sure.
If you give me the option between you want your girl to gain 25 pounds or lose 25, I want you to gain it.
Right.
I want you to go up that way.
Right. I'm okay with that.
Right. So, but too small. It's like certain people, and that's just my preference. There's certain people that I see. I'm like, oh wow, that's a very pretty person.
Right.
Oh, no. I was like, oh, I wouldn't. No, they too small for me. Wouldn't work
right.
at all.
Right.
I wouldn't even. I couldn't even stay interested.
Right. I'm just not attracted to that.
Right. So I mean that's me, to each their own. Hold on, let me see if
What were some more of the comments? So Armand said get somebody else. But that's not realistic. I mean, that's always not realistic either. Like you said, like this is a relationship. We're in a partnership. Like you don't just throw it away and like get the next one, you know. But in theory.
Gemini OTS says no one should feel obligated to. They need to choose to want to. But if you want your partner to always look tight, excuse me, fork up the cash, because ain't cheap. Hair, nails, clothes, shoes, and home. If you always want everything nice, pay up, because I ain't doing it. Oh, well, that took it to a different. But
is she wrong? Is she wrong? If you want your woman or your man to have a certain caliber of appearance, then you better be prepared to put in on that bill.
From the aspect she was talking about, then I do agree with that, especially when she's talking about the more cosmetic part of that. I'm not really big on the cosmetic stuff. Like I'm not turned off, but people who wear a lot of makeup, that doesn't grab me.
Right.
Like I heard somebody say in another group that I was moderating, it was some, I don't know if it was them saying it or there was something about a meme, but they were saying on the first date, I need you to come no makeup, no lipstick, no nothing, just bare face. I want to see what you actually look like.
It's easy. I got that. That's so easy.
I was like, you know what? That makes sense. Like,
I love this thing.
Don't come
that's all you're gonna get anyway.
I was like, you know, that's a good idea, actually.
But no, she's right. You know, the manicures, the pedicures, the hair, you know, the makeup, the lashes, the Botox, if you get into all that extra shit, you know, the lip injections, the extensions, the beauty shop day, you know. And I mean, and that could go for men too. The nice shoes, the cuff links, the nice clothes, the haircuts, the jewelry, the cologne, you know, I mean, it gets expensive. It can get expensive.
I want to take it a step further, even more when we're talking about physical appearance. I think that even along with what she's saying, even on the physical appearance side, there's obligation for you too, not just say, hey, you're really getting big. If you're partnering with this person, maybe you guys go get a gym membership together.
Right.
Start creating some gym
ultimately days. Yeah.
Take more walks.
Right.
Be mindful of what you're putting in the refrigerator.
Period. Right.
Yeah. Why don't you start shopping more healthy? And first of all, why don't you start eating more healthy?
And
just both of you can be eating unhealthy, but maybe one person is only gaining the weight.
And don't say that bullshit. Oh, well, it's not me that has to lose weight. Now you can go, because yes, you are accurate, but it's like being with an alcoholic or an addict. When you remove the substance, it's going to have to be changes for all of us for me to be able to get through this motherfucker. So you're either going to be with me or you're not going to be with me.
Right.
And yes, you as the partner, that's some of the sacrifices that you signed up for to be able to have this partnership. And that oftentimes, you know, most relationships grow another level of friendship in this accountability system that they now have for each other. You know, I mean, it can be a very cool experience, but don't say, oh, well, I'm not the one that got to lose weight, so I can eat this fried chicken.
Right.
That's how resentments are grown, man.
Yeah, exactly. So then at that point, then you instead of pointing you never want to be in a place where you point the finger. You want to be in a place where you recognize a situation and you jump in the boat together.
Right.
Jumping in the boat together, maybe, okay, we're gonna have some gym days. I'm gonna start controlling some of the food that we put in the refrigerator. I'm going to start eating healthier, whether I'm the one that's cooking or you cooking for me. Because a lot of it happens by osmosis.
Right.
If when I got on a diet, then, you know, a lot of I'm not eating that. I ain't eating this no more. I'm really cutting this out, except for on the weekends, this and this and that. So then my girl was like, oh, well, I know not to cook. Okay, well, I ain't cooking none of this stuff. And when she ain't cooking it for me, she ain't cooking it for the house either.
Right. So nobody else is getting it.
So now we all eating a little bit better.
Everybody benefits. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with that. It was something else. Okay. So this is the other part of it I want to get to for those people who say, just love it or leave it type of thing. Why would you have that mindset of love it or leave it when it comes to changes in physical appearance, but you don't have that in any other aspect of the relationship? You wouldn't say so. Say for mental or emotional. Say I used to say please and thank you all the time. Just something super simple. And then I just stopped doing it. And then I stopped being courteous. Is that acceptable?
Right.
I stopped being, I started off in a relationship giving as a giver of my time and the things and being very attentive. And then I just stopped doing that because, hey, that's who I was then, but this is who I am now. Take it or leave it. Is that acceptable? No.
Take it or leave it.
We wouldn't say, and you hear this in all relationships that are falling apart. Well, when we met each other, he used to do this. She used to do this, but now she don't do this no more. And then the people look like, well, how come if you started off doing that, then how come you're not doing it anymore? Why would you stop doing it if that's what you presented initially in the relationship? So in any other instance, when it comes to character or how you treat somebody, we expect people to maintain that same type of line. But when it comes to physically, then we don't accept why would it be different from that in anything else?
Right.
I rest my case. Bam.
Is that because weight is something that we actually do to ourselves? Like all these other things, but weight is something like you can gain weight from medication, like there are a few things obviously that can contribute to excessive weight gain, like you said, thyroid issues, chemical imbalance issues. Like if we take all medical things aside. Yeah, so if we take all the medical stuff and set that to the side, like to gain weight, you have to consume food. You have to consume calories. You have to consume excessive amounts of calories, and you also have to not be burning any calories. You have to not be active. You have to not, for everything that you're putting in, you're not putting anything out to get rid of or burn off what you've put in your system. So is it because weight is something that like we've done to ourselves, as opposed to like, oh, I used to be courteous and now I'm not, or I used to.
Well, you know what? Because it's not even, I think with weight then, it's not even maintaining what you've been doing. I've been eating the way that I've been eating since I was in high school. But at this stage in my life, that ain't gonna cut it no more. I eat less now than I did in high school, but that ain't gonna cut it. And it used to come to a place, well, yeah, as long as I just work out, jump out there, then it's gonna be okay. And then I reach a certain age, and even working out ain't gonna do it. And it's like, okay, you actually have to make changes. You got to diet.
Well, I mean, a body is built in the kitchen, period.
You got to. And that's one of the things to where it's not just, well, my metabolism. Okay, well, my metabolism ain't working like it used to. I have to adjust to it.
Yes.
There's things that you can do to build your metabolism, and there's things that you're gonna have to watch the intake of certain things that you do that's gonna cause you to gain weight. Got to. But just saying, well, it ain't me, it's my metabolism. That can't be an excuse. Sometimes you got to make changes.
You almost always have to make changes. Like,
I'm just getting that because, at a certain, like I was beginning of this year, I was 250. I was like, oh, all right, well, shoot, Q.
Were you really?
Oh yeah.
Damn.
So probably like the last couple months, then I'm like, all right, I gotta change up how I eat and what I put in my body and how often I do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm down 25 pounds.
And that's it.
25 now.
I mean, so that's just it. Weight is all accountable. Weight is, again, all medical stuff aside, all medical issues, whatever, all that shit aside, medicine, all that stuff aside. Weight is a defining Weight defines your behaviors. It defines your relationship with yourself. It defines your relationship with food. It defines your relationship with just life, you know, because whether it's eating for pleasure or eating for comfort or eating for, you know, a multitude of different reasons, you know, it's the overconsumption. It's the poor food intake. It's it's the not getting it off, you know, and then being mindful of age changes and, you know, maybe medications and mental or health issues that could certainly play a part in making it more challenging to get rid of weight.
Right.
It's, you know, and it's not okay to attack people about weight. It's not okay to make fun of people about weight. Like weight is maybe that's why weight is so sensitive, because weight is a very personal fucking topic.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's
because
the other
any
thing.
person,
Nobody else really is going to talk to you about that. So it's almost left up to your partner to say something, because friends, co-workers, unless you got like a real close friend or just tell you about yourself, a lot of times everybody around you won't say anything. And it's just left up to your partner to be the bad guy to come out and say something.
Oh. And somebody has to say something. So yeah, unfortunately, partner, you get you got to say something, partner. You got, and I think that as a partner, you have to keep that door open. That it is fair that we have uncomfortable discussions. Like you have to tell me if I'm getting too big. You have to tell me if I'm getting too small. You have to tell me. You know, does that mean I can just snap my fingers and fix it overnight? No, but as your partner, I want to be attentive to that. I want to address those things. Like, I want to make you happy. I want you to get what you get. I want you to get what you like, because I get what I like, and I'm going to tell you about the things I do and I don't like. You know, I think it's a fair conversation, and I do think that there is a part of us that is obligated to stay attractive to our mate. Absolutely.
Beat your mate.
Any other comments on that?
Beat them to the punch. I said beat them to the punch. Don't wait for them to come to you.
Anybody else say anything else?
We talked
there's
about
a bunch of comments on there. I just didn't pull any of them up.
Yeah, no, that was the main stuff. That was the main stuff. There's some other small stuff, but it was of the same sentiment. So yeah. What time?
So yeah, like you said, think about a gym membership, going for walks, you know, changing your diet. I mean, there's literally so many ways that this can be a topic that gets broached, and it might and you may do everything right and it still go the wrong way. You know, that doesn't mean that your efforts to try to communicate that information to your partner are futile. Like, still communicate that shit to their partner. They may come around, they may not come around, but you do have an obligation to tell them, and you do have an obligation to keep it up. And that's just my personal opinion. Do we want to talk about sex in church?
Yeah, let's go for it.
When you posted this, I was so glad I was in Facebook jail still. I was like, OMG. All right, you go ahead and read it. That's your post.
Pastor asked married couple struggling to conceive to have sex on the church altar. Bring it to the altar in full view of the congregation so that they can pray for them to conceive. Okay, that's the post. So, and you know, I'm upset.
So there's the people.
So
wait, pick it up.
I was really upset. I wanted more of our religious Christian people to be on here right now, because I
know, and none of them are here.
I have questions about that, because at first I was like, okay. Now, I've been in church for a long time. When I tell you nothing surprises me, nothing at all surprises me at all, even including this. It's like literally nothing surprises me. So in this instance, just like when the guy spit on the guy's face and all that stuff like that, my first question is, did it work? That's the main question I have. Did it work? If it worked, then All's well that ends well. That's what.
No, all's well that ends well is not. That
Forrest Gump mama said,
goes.
all's well that ends well.
All I see when I see this is like porn. It's just straight porn. I don't care. It's church porn.
They cover
No, if you're having sex in front of a group of people, that okay, well, it's okay. So maybe not porn then. Would this be considered an orgy, or do all people have to participate in sexual acts to be considered an orgy? Can you just be a watcher of said orgy? Is orgy multiple sex people? Now maybe I'm getting it wrong. Okay, so maybe it's not an orgy. So then it would be, are they voyeurs? Like, this is some voyeuristic shit. Like you are. This can't happen at the church. It's not supposed to be happening. No, absolutely not. No, I don't care if it worked or didn't work. No. I said what I said.
And it's so, and this is the train of thought that I'm coming from. And I'm not saying it's not crazy. But what I will say is, and especially that's why I wanted a lot of the Christian and religious people on here, is because there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened and was instructed to be done in the scriptures.
Right.
So a lot of things seem crazy on the surface, but when oftentimes when people needed a miracle, either Jesus or one of the prophets or one of the disciples, it'd be some crazy stuff that'd be done. Jesus, spit in some mud and rubbed it on the guy's eyes and so he could see. So it's like, that would be crazy. I mean, not as it wouldn't be as vulgar as this is.
Right.
There's just a lot of, I don't know. I'm just like, I wonder if it worked.
There was a lot of feedback. There was a lot of feedback on that post. There was a lot of comments on that post. And I think, I don't remember who it was. I want to say maybe it was Odell. I could be wrong. I don't remember who it was, but somebody had made the comment that like, they can do all that praying and shit from down the street around the corner. Like you can send me all your good jujus and your prayers and well wishes, from down the street while my wife and I are in our room, in our bed, trying to get pregnant. I feel like that is one of those examples of a massive abuse of power. I'm not saying that, within people who believe in, church and religion and, the gifts of being dutiful, give you, but that seems to be a pretty big reach and abuse of power. That to me, especially for us to all know church people in the ways in which we know church people, that doesn't mean that all church people are people. That does not mean that all church people are hypocritical. That does not mean that at all. There's a lot of very good, very dutiful, very righteous people who are followers. But some of the most hypocritical, unethical people are in that congregation, and sometimes up on the front side too. And this is where the abuse of power comes in, because that could easily be something that nasty ass little pastor and some of them little weirdo ass people in the congregation are going to sit there and watch these people have sex to try to help them have a baby.
They covered up.
They watching. And like you said, that's a lot of pressure for that man to perform in front of all those people like that. Like, no, they're watching.
See, and then the other thing that I wonder sometimes, maybe they couldn't conceive. Maybe they ain't been doing it as much as they're supposed to. Maybe they haven't.
That's fine, but doing it on the church pulpit ain't gonna get you no more pregnant than if you did it 4 more times at home. Shit. Go do it some more. Track your cycle. You know, I mean, there's obviously a million different things that you can do to try to
Look,
figure out
the
why we're not
pastor
getting
just
pregnant.
needed to make sure that they were doing it right, doing it thoroughly,
Then he went to their
and
house.
doing
Like,
it
you know
to
what? I'm gonna come
completion.
over. I'm gonna come over, and we're gonna have a, you know, whatever. But no, absolutely not. I think that there have got to be some bounds.
Did you watch the
within the
Borgias?
church?
I don't know. You probably
No,
never
but I know
watched
what
the
you're
TV
talking
show, The
about.
Borgias. But yeah, so when two people would get married, they'd have a person from each party sit on the other side of the veil to verify the consummation, to make sure that they were both
And that's
officially
fucking
married.
weird. That is some weird pedophilic. And I don't even know where that came from. If that came from some Catholic shit or like, I don't even know where that came from. But that is some weird sexual strangeness. And weird sexual strange shit in church and me do not go. That don't mean in church people can't have weird sexual sex.
That's even an argument in law, though. Like, you know, if you're trying to get annulment or get out of a marriage, if the two of you actually never had sex, then that's one of those arguments that you kind of not actually, you are married, but you're not actually married. You didn't consummate.
Right, you didn't consummate the marriage. So, yeah, no, that's. I mean, no. There's no. If sex wasn't what sex is, maybe. But because sex is what it is, and it's in society how it's looked at. Even
you know what? My focus is not even on the sex as much. It's not the sex thing. It's people who say that they're Christians and they believe the Bible.
The sex in front of strangers.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying as far as my focus of the post was more towards a lot of when I saw a lot of people who are Christians who responded to that. And they're like, oh, no, that's terrible. But I'm like, well, there's a lot of miracles that didn't make sense that you believe it because it's in the Bible, but would you have actually done it if you were instructed to do it? Like back then, would you have actually done it?
Give me an example. Or can you give me an example? Like, tell me something.
Yeah, it's like who was that? Was it Joshua? Some guy told the prophet to tell the children of Israel to walk around this city 7 times and then 7 times again on the 7th day or something like that. And then the walls fell down. Like, how is me walking around the city gonna make the walls of a city fall down and then we can go in and take it? Like, it don't make sense. So because and everybody quotes these scriptures and things like that, but if someone actually came to you and told you, some prophet said, all right, I need you to walk around Pflugerville 7 times and the city gonna be, they're like, no, that don't make sense. No, I can ask for a loan or a grant or something like, but I'm not, so most people who say that they believe in the Bible, in the same scenario, if someone asked them to do the same thing, they wouldn't actually do it. Jesus told Peter, well, Lord, if it be you, bid me to come out. Come on out here. How many people gonna step out the boat to walk? You gonna jump off your Carnival cruise ship to go walk on the water because God told you? Most people not doing that. But you still believe the scriptures that it's true and that what happened. That's why I say it's hard to have this conversation with you, but it's for people who believe in the scriptures and they also believe in miracles. Most miracles came from strange instruction. So even get outside of the sex part.
Most miracles came from strange instruction.
Yes.
Okay.
And it wasn't just purely just pray about it and you're going to have your answer. No, a lot of Jesus or the prophets would tell them specific things to do. And they do it and oh, wow, that's, it happened. But I just think the same people who say that they believe in the Bible, say they believe in miracles, forget about the sex on the altar. If you were asked to do a lot of things that don't rationally make sense. Would you follow it? Would you do it? And if you wouldn't, then you may want to reevaluate how much you believe in the scriptures.
That's a really good challenge.
Yeah, so
that's a really good challenge. Yeah, and I guess I definitely am probably the least entertaining person to talk to about that one, because I personally think it's, I have my, I definitely feel differently about, the book and miracles and, shit like that. But
so you don't believe there's no such thing as miracles? No miracles.
Do I believe in miracles? It's a miracle. I'm trying to think. It's a miracle. I really don't know if I do believe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say yes and I don't want to say no, because I do know that, things happen. People who weren't supposed to walk. People who weren't supposed to live regain function and they live. People who, maybe couldn't conceive have been able to conceive. So like most people would generally call those things miracles. I don't know if they're I don't know if they're miracles. I think I would just have to personally look at each one individually and see what else contributed to it, right? Like, could it be a miracle that a person walked again? Or did you just go through, physical rehabilitation? Has your brain, been injured or awakened in a form of fashion in which it hadn't been before? Have you had access to therapies that you didn't have before, and now it's activating some of the nerves in your body, and now you can walk again? Right. Like, I don't know. Have you changed your diet, lost weight, and done things, and now the things that maybe had been affecting your ability to get pregnant as a woman, now maybe those things are not taking place anymore? But a woman could say, oh, I got pregnant, that's a miracle. Yeah, but you also went vegan and you lost weight, you've been healthy, you've been drinking water, and you got your hormones tested and all these other things too. Right. A person could say, oh, I just got approved for a home loan. Oh, it's a miracle. Well, no, you have good credit and you have money and you have a good credit score. You worked really hard. So I guess it just depends on what a person considers a miracle, and everybody thinks a miracle is different. I just don't think that. I believe in magic, but I don't know if I believe in miracles. And I don't think that magic and miracles are the same thing.
I don't think they're the same thing, but I think they're similar in the form that they are. You can get a physical result from a non-physical element.
Explain. That makes sense? You get a physical result from a non-physical element. What do you mean?
Somebody do a abracadabra, this and this and this and that. Words, a spell, or something like that. Magic. There's nothing physical that calls something to change, but there's still a different physical manifestation.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so if I punch you in the face and your eye turn black, this is a physical fist.
Yeah, physically direct cause and cause and effect. Right.
Now, if I say abracadabra, hocus pocus, and then your eye turned black, there was nothing physical I did to cause an actual physical reaction. So in the same sense, where someone gives instructions to something, it could be a non-physical, or there's no direct connection from one thing to another, but it still causes a result. That can be a correlation between magic and miracles.
Sure. And when I say I believe in magic, I don't think I believe in magic like the kiddie magic, right? I believe in witchcraft. I believe in voodoo. I believe in, black magic. I believe in sorcery. I don't believe in those things because I can necessarily do them. I believe in those things because I believe in power and energy, and I believe in, people tapping into higher self and tapping into different channels within their spirit. And I do believe that some people are just gifted with senses like that,
So that's it. It would seem like you have to believe in both. You would have to
But I don't
almost.
know if I don't know if I do.
It's
I don't know if I
almost the same
call
thing,
it a
but
miracle.
Well, you call it
I
magic.
don't know if
You call it magic then. So what you call magic,
I don't know if
another
I'd call that
person may call a
miracle.
miracle. I know
I don't know.
that's just terminology. Somebody
Right.
magically the tumor just went away. And then another person would say, miraculously the tumor went away.
Right. Magically, miraculously.
A lot of it is just in terminology. But
Yeah,
you're still tapping into a different realm.
You are, and I don't think that everybody can. I don't think that everybody has the ability to tap into a higher realm. I don't think everybody has the ability to. I don't think everybody has the powers to be able to do witchcraft and witchery and magic and sorcery and stuff like that. But I just always feel like when people say, "Oh, it's a miracle! Oh, it's a miracle! It's a miracle," it wasn't. and I'm just being super vague with ideas that I'm coming up with in my own mind of scenarios where somebody said, "Oh, this is a miracle." If there were more examples that I could think about, would this be considered a miracle or not? It's always something else contributed to the magic of said thing happening, other than just I prayed about it. You actually did some stuff about it. You didn't just pray and walk away. You had to do acts. You did stuff to make said miracle actually take place.
Oh, I told you I seen a mute girl start
Yeah.
talking. So that's
And I mean, and you knew her before this to know that this is just how it always was.
Yep, she's
this wasn't
like
some girl that they churched and brought in for Sunday service to show y'all what they can do. You've been knowing this girl. You knew she didn't talk before.
Everything. I had a piece of paper and a pencil all the time. Anytime she had a question. So yeah, I mean, I don't.
But did you know she couldn't talk?
All during the time
she had a little.
Yes.
I mean, but she could have just chosen. She could have chosen not to be talking.
You should have seen my eyes.
I mean, she could have chose to have not been communicating with people and just using the paper and pencil. I'm not saying that was the case, but for me, a non-believer, there's always that what if, question asked out there.
Yeah.
But you believe in miracles. You believe in miracles.
Yeah, I believe in miracles.
You believe in miracles?
Just, how could I see? And that's what kind of confused me. How you could go that far and stop? How could, if I believe in voodoo and witchcraft and magic and black magic and all that, then how could I not believe in miracles? You're still just talking about metaphysics, really. So I mean, so it is. You call it one thing and I call it another, and even if it's not the same thing, it's still tapping into a different realm that's outside of our tangible senses.
But religion does not acknowledge magic, though. Religion shuns anything else. They shun sorcery. They shun witchery. They shun rituals, but they are rituals.
But it's not true, because the Bible speaks of all types of black magic and witchcraft all throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
Even if you go through the old, where the Moses put his staff down and it turned into a snake, and then the Pharaoh's people dropped it and it did the same thing. They dropped their staffs and they did the same. That's a cute little trick. We know how to do that too. So it's there's plenty of people who went to the other side, where they were talking to him from the other side, and then even Saul went to a witch, basically, to speak to one of his mentors who had recently died, and she was She was a witch, but he was tapping into a different power to still gain access to the same result that someone else would use. So it's it's still the same thing. But anyway, my whole point with that is the Bible speaks about all of that stuff, like often.
Right, but then so then why does the church condemn? Why does the church condemn magic? Why were we burning witches at the stake? Like why why are pagans and why huh?
They want you to tap into their power.
Well, yeah.
And most people are believe that there's, the one true God. This is the only source of ultimate power. Maybe it is, maybe it ain't, but there's other I believe that there's other ways to tap into the same thing. I don't think psychics are false. I think they know how to tap into certain things. One person can be a prophet, another person can be a psychic.
Mm-hmm.
But they go through different means to access that power.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may go through what they call God, the one true God. Some people go through different gods.
Right.
But they're still accessing realms that we don't have access to, or the average person don't have access to.
Right. It's interesting how you put those parallels together of prophet and psychic, right? Because like in the church world, you don't be talking to them psychics. Don't be messing with them psychics. Don't be letting them psychics up in your, psychics in your house, and don't go into them psychics' house.
And a lot of times we would often be taught that a psychic is they are accessing their vision or their power through satanic forces.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe that? I mean, today, do you believe that to be true?
I believe some people can. I don't believe everybody
does. Right. I mean, there's always going to be bad spirits to tap into. There's always going to be bad juju and bad energy to tap into. Absolutely. But it's so interesting how, you look at how you were taught to believe it versus when you get older and you understand it to be a little bit differently, how that changes. Like, and I guess that's the part for me.
It don't scare me if somebody say, yeah, I'm a witch or I'm a Wiccan or I'm
right. But we were taught that that's supposed to scare us. We were told to stay away from those people. And I remember one of my mom's friends growing up in our little bitty hometown. Man, my mom's friends, and so it was my mom's friend, and then she had a daughter who ended up being like my kindergarten, like just buddy. Like that was my friend all couple elementary years before I got to Texas. And it was always rumored that her mom was a witch. Always rumored her mom was a witch. Nobody could spend the night over there. Nobody could go, like, I was able to. I was able to go to her house, and she was able to come to my house and shit, but like the whole entire town was like cast her away because they said she's a witch. And that woman never, to our knowledge, never did anything to anybody. Was never anything other than a wonderfully sweet person. And who even know that was just, a fucking rumor, right? But it's always painted the picture.
I met a few witches. I met a few witches before.
I had somebody called me a witch one day, and I was like, I don't know if that was like a nice way to call me a bitch or if they really meant witch. And my friend was like, they probably meant witch. And I was like, no. I ain't no damn witch. But I just wish that anything that wasn't the church would have not been painted with such a negative stroke to allow people to be okay to believe whatever they want to believe. And I know that that's, the bane of conditioning of multiple different things, but in this particular topic, magic versus miracle and how they come into our life or who's responsible for them, like, I don't know if it's just, I guess that's always my issue in that, and believing in one and believing in the other, or believing in fairy tale. And I try to be mindful, and I try to be open-minded, and I try to be a free thinker, but
yeah, I just think my biggest thing is
my problem is church.
When it comes to spirituality, well, you know what? Let me tell you what my problem with church is, and it's about to go into what I was just about to say. When it comes to the spirit realm, we as people know very, very little about it. Very little. The people, even the people who know the most, know this much. It's just
Right.
a realm that we don't operate in. There's pieces of it that we encounter and that we touch and that we sense, but we don't understand it at all. So, with that being said, my issue with the church is people who are so definitive about what's spiritually acceptable and what's spiritually not. Because the truth is, we really don't. We don't. We know so little that we're not really qualified to have such a strong opinion on it. That's my issue. And not only that, and this is the other thing with not just the church, but with most monotheistic religions, meaning religions that only identify with being one true God. In most of those instances, those religions discourage you from learning and uncovering about other religions and forms of spirituality. So we take this strong stance on something that we refuse ourselves to get educated on. How can you hate something or definitively know that it's wrong or evil and demonic, and we've done no homework about it? No homework. We have no personal experience, and which is the same thing that we encourage other people on the outside to come in. Well, even if you don't know and understand it, it's because you got to get a person. You got to have a personal experience. If you experience it for yourself and have an encounter with it, then you'll see it and understand it and feel it differently. Well, couldn't that be true for the other thing over there too? No. Don't mess with that. How do you know? How do you know? No, you just ain't supposed to mess with that.
How do you have that? Do you have that conversation like in your family circle? You know, like do you challenge that ever? I mean, I know that you all have different beliefs, and yours have obviously changed as you've grown. But like, how do you rectify that today? Like,
don't need to be rectified,
because that seems to be like the most healthiest way to look at it, right? But that's not how most people that were raised in a church to believe.
It doesn't need to be rectified. It's
yeah.
I mean, I know certain, so and I said I'm gonna do a story about this one day. I liken it to, I use an example of martial arts. I don't know if you've ever heard this before. Where I got this story in my head. I'm gonna put it out there. It's like gonna be like a parable or something like that. But guy who learned karate. Let's say karate. Learned karate, became a black belt, everything, hiya, kick, said, hey, this is the one true martial art. This is the one that's above all others. And then somebody else came along. Hey, but it's this other place over here. They do this thing called Taekwondo. No. That ain't the real thing. Karate. That's it. Karate is the only real one. Nothing else is real. The rest of the stuff is fake, or they're not superior. They're what's the word I'm looking for? They're inferior to anything else. And somebody else say, well, it's this other place. It's a boxing gym over here. No. Don't do boxing. Only karate. Don't learn Taekwondo. Don't learn boxing. Well, it's this judo play. Nope, forget judo. What is judo? Oh, you ain't never heard of judo? Oh, judo is actually it's pretty fly. It actually teach you what to do if you go to the ground and how to grapple and do it. No. You don't need to do that. All you need is the hiya, kick and punch. That's all you need to do. And that's that's what I liken religion to. We have this form, this practice in the way that we exercise our faith, and we are committed to only practicing this one style in this one type of way. And we're not open that there's other forms of martial arts that can that you may be able to add and incorporate to what you do that will make you a more complete fighter. Now, let me get back
Right.
to the last part of what I was saying. Now, a person who has studied and trained third, fourth, fifth degree black belt in karate, can they fight? Yeah, they can still fight. Are they effective? Yes. Can they defend themselves? Yes. But the truth is, there can be more developed forms of fighting, but you won't know because you're not willing to tap into something outside of what you've been instructed to only do it a certain way. But that doesn't take away from your art, your discipline, and your ability to fight and defend yourself. You also. So my whole correlation with that is even the Christians are still effective.
Right.
Even if it's not complete, it's still effective. I've still seen people's lives changed. People become better people who know how to, they receive gifts of discernment and prophecy and healing. A lot of those things that I just don't subscribe to. It may not be the only source which you can achieve that from, but it is an avenue. So I don't knock anybody for it, and I don't try to teach them. If you're happy doing karate for the rest of your life, perfectly fine.
Right. And that's true. That's true. That's a true statement. But I'm with you. I like all the martial arts. I want to know about all the martial arts. Tell me all of the things I need to know.
Some of it I don't though. But you can only figure that out until you actually get into it and practice. And what they did, and if you ever watch MMA, they found out that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the most masterful form of martial arts within the rule. And the reason that it is because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they didn't stick to one style or art form. They learned to incorporate many different. They incorporated boxing, which is striking, with judo, which is wrestling, and jiu-jitsu, which is different joint manipulations. So they took the best out of everything and incorporated to one and say, we're not going to restrict ourselves to only doing it a certain type of way. We're going to find the most effective way, and what's not effective, we're doing away with that. So for instance, something like what's the one I'm looking for? Kung Fu. Kung Fu is a very artsy form of martial art. It looks beautiful, but somebody try to do that stuff in a real street fight, they're gonna get whooped. It look cute, but you're gonna get whooped doing, I know Kung Fu, and you doing all this, and it's like,
you're gonna get beat up in the meantime.
That ain't gonna do nothing for you. And nobody does Kung Fu in MMA because it's it looks good, but it's not effective.
Right.
But even that, I say, but you don't know that unless you put it up against other art forms.
Right.
So that's why I will take Christianity and I'll put it up against Buddhism and Hinduism and Catholicism and different forms of religion. And okay, how do y'all believe? What do you think? What's your end game? What's your path to eternal life? And the only way you can be sure about what you believe in is you got to rub it up against what other people's. That's the same thing I do with freethinkers. I take my opinion, rub it up against other people's opinion, and if their opinion makes more sense than my opinion, then I reevaluate my opinion and come up with a new opinion based off of new facts that I receive. Not just facts as far as information that I hear, but based off of pragmatic, the life experiences that I've been able to encounter based off of what they said also.
I like it. I mean, the more information I feel like, the better, right? When we're only given just like one channel of information, that's dangerous.
Yes,
it's just dangerous.
That is true.
Yeah,
it is
just
true.
dangerous, no doubt.
In anything, that's just a basic rule of thought.
Right, and not just that, but everything, but certainly that. You want to share with the folks who might be listening or listen later what we are going to talk about next week? What we want to talk about next week?
We can wait. We just start blasting. We can start blasting. Just...
Well, be prepared for next week. You know, we want to see some faces next week. We want y'all to get engaged in the conversation next week. We'll start talking about it midweek, what we're going to talk about. But it's a great conversation.
We can do a little here. Yeah, we're going to get the questions. We need you to get your questions together. And real questions that you have for the opposite sex. Is that right? That's what we're doing, right?
Yes. Get some questions together for the opposite sex. Yeah, we're gonna do that.
And the real stuff you want to know, we're gonna give you the real answer. So you if you want to know it, we're gonna make sure we give you the real honest answer.
The answer will be provided.
And if we feel like you're BSing on either side, we're gonna call you out like, nope, we need the truth.
You go answer the question. So stay tuned to both pages. But we'll talk more about it on the Facebook page. I'll probably go live later on this week, and we'll talk a little bit more about what the hell we're talking about. So you can be like, what are they talking about? What are we going to do next week? So stay tuned to the Facebook page. Of course, join us over on the YouTube channel. Share, like, subscribe, share, like, subscribe. Send us your topic suggestions. Post things over to the Facebook Freethinkers page. If you have events or things coming up, things that you'd like to share, post them over to the Facebook page. There's a high IQ from last night. There was a great conversation about mending broken hearts that was on last night. Moke's got his page up there. He's got Moke and Friends up there. So we've got a great podcast family that shares their channels and their pages and conversations and episodes over on our Freethinkers page. So please come on over there, join us. Like I said, like, share. And we'll see y'all next Tuesday. Anything you want to add before we sign off? Sorry, I didn't mean to jump back in after I was almost jumping out. No. All right. No. We'll see y'all next Tuesday. Good night, everybody.